The physical realm, Nzambi, earthly existence. Time in the physical world is often experienced as linear, progressing from birth to death. This is the realm of human existence, where time is measured by seasons, days, and life stages. However, it also has cyclical aspects, seen in agricultural cycles, seasonal changes, and ancestral rituals, reinforcing rebirth and renewal. Characteristics of time in the physical realm. Time moves forward in a straightforward sequence but also follows cycles, such as birth, adulthood, and death. It is measured by physical events like sunrise, sunset, and seasonal changes. The ancestral realm, Pimba, spiritual existence. In the ancestral realm, time operates differently. The ancestors are not bound by the restrictions of the physical world. They exist in an eternal state beyond linear progression, experiencing all moments simultaneously. Characteristics of time in the ancestral realm. Time is timeless, with no past, present, or future, as understood by the living. The ancestors can see and influence events across different times, allowing them to guide the living. Their presence transcends human limitations, making prophecy and ancestral wisdom possible. The realm of birth and new beginnings, Kala, East. This dimension represents new beginnings associated with sunrise, birth, and potential. Time here is focused on the unfolding of future events, growth, and renewal. Characteristics of time in Kala. Time marks creation, the start of new cycles, and opportunities for growth. It is associated with dawn and the emergence of new energy, both in physical and spiritual forms. The realm of life and peak existence, Tukula, North. This is the phase of peak existence associated with midday, full energy, and the realization of potential. Time in this dimension represents power, action, and the culmination of strength. Characteristics of time in Tukula. Time is at its peak, symbolizing strength and the fulfillment of goals. It is a period of high energy, achievement, and full engagement with life's purpose. The realm of death and decline, Luvemba, West. This realm represents the decline of life, wisdom, and transition to the spiritual world. It is associated with sunset, aging, and the preparation for transformation. Characteristics of time in Luvemba. Time here marks the waning of life, reflection, and the transition from the physical world to the spiritual. It is a moment of closure, preparing for the journey to the ancestral realm. Interconnections between dimensions. The dimensions are not separate but interconnected. Time in one realm influences the others, creating a fluid relationship between the physical and spiritual worlds. Ancestors send messages to the living, guiding them through visions, while rebirth and continuity maintain the cycle of existence. Prophecy and knowledge. Ancestors exist beyond time and can provide insights into past, present, and future events. Their wisdom helps the living navigate their journey, reinforcing the idea of time as a continuum rather than a straight path. Rebirth and continuity. Life moves cyclically through birth, Kala, growth, Tukula, decline, Luvemba, and eventual spiritual transition, Mpemba. This cycle ensures that a person's essence continues to influence future generations. Spiritual time versus human time. The spiritual realm operates outside of the human experience of time. Prophetic visions, ancestral messages, and divine wisdom come from a dimension where all moments are connected, allowing guidance across generations. Conclusion. In Bukongo cosmology, time is a fluid, interconnected force that flows differently across realms. The physical world experiences time in a linear and cyclical manner, while the ancestral realm exists beyond time, influencing past, present, and future simultaneously. This reflects the interwoven nature of existence, where the spiritual and physical constantly interact, linking life, death, and rebirth in a dynamic cycle. Breaking down the word spirituality and its meaning for the Bantu Congo people. The term spirituality comes from the Latin root spiritus, meaning breath, soul, or life force. It represents something beyond the material world, something unseen but deeply felt. For the Bantu Congo people, spirituality is not just a concept but a way of life, connecting the physical world, Nzambi, and the spiritual world, Mpemba, in a continuous interaction between the visible and the invisible. Understanding spirituality in the Bantu Congo context. In Kikongo, spirituality is linked to several key concepts: spirit, life force, breath, energy, Kimpiv, spiritual nature or existence, Nzambi Mpungu, the supreme creator, Basimbi, Mpive Yamina, nature spirits of rivers, forests, ancestors, etc., and Bakulu, ancestors who continue guiding the living. Spirituality is about maintaining harmony between all these forces, recognizing that life itself is spiritual because it comes from Nzambi Mpungu, and everything carries spiritual energy. Spirituality as connection, the three main aspects. 1. Connection to Nzambi Mpungu. Nzambi Mpungu is the source of all life, the ultimate spiritual force actively present in the world. Worship is expressed through respect for nature, ancestors, and community values. 2. Connection to ancestors, Bakulu. Death is not the end. Ancestors continue to exist and influence the living through dreams, visions, and rituals. Honoring them brings guidance and blessings. 3. Connection to nature and the cosmic order. The universe operates in balance, represented by the Dikenga, Kongo Cosmogram. Nature is sacred, and everything has spirit, requiring humans to live in harmony with the natural world. How spirituality manifests in Bantu Congo traditions. 1. Rituals and ceremonies, honoring ancestors, seeking guidance, and connecting with Nzambi Mpungu through libations and rites of passage. 2. Dreams and prophecies. The spiritual world communicates through visions and messages in dreams, with some people gifted as diviners, Nganga. Healing and spiritual practices. Traditional healers use herbs, prayers, and ancestral knowledge to restore balance in body and spirit. 4. The power of the word, Nkuda Mambu. Words hold spiritual energy, shaping reality through blessings or curses. Speaking with wisdom is a sacred act. The meaning of spirituality for the Bantu Congo today. Colonization forced many Bantu people to abandon their traditional spirituality in favor of foreign religions. However, many are now returning to their roots, rediscovering ancestral wisdom by learning about Dikenga, honoring ancestors while maintaining faith in Nzambi, and understanding spirituality as a part of everyday life rather than just religious practice. Remember who you are. Like in The Lion King, reconnecting with spiritual traditions is seen as a path to restoring balance and strength in Bantu communities. Conclusion. Spirituality is a way of life. For the Bantu Congo, spirituality is life itself, deeply interwoven with daily existence. It is about harmony between the physical and spiritual worlds, respecting nature, honoring ancestors, and following divine wisdom. To be spiritual in the Congo way is to acknowledge the connection between Nzambi Mpungu, the ancestors, and the universe, understanding life as a continuous cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Spirituality is not just about belief, it is about remembering, honoring, and living in balance. The colonizers studied the Bantu very well. Colonizers extensively studied the Bantu people, their culture, spirituality, and traditions. They recognized the deep ancestral wisdom and spiritual power that sustained the Bantu way of life. Weaponizing knowledge against the Bantu. Instead of respecting or embracing this knowledge, the colonizers used it against the Bantu. They demonized their spirituality, labeled their sacred practices as witchcraft, and imposed foreign religions to disconnect them from their ancestral wisdom. Stealing and distorting spiritual knowledge. The colonizers not only suppressed Bantu spirituality, but also stole elements of it for their own use. They distorted the understanding of African spiritual systems, erasing their significance and replacing them with doctrines designed to control and weaken the people. Breaking the connection between the Bantu and their ancestors. By condemning ancestral veneration and traditional practices, the colonizers severed the Bantu people's link to their spiritual heritage. This disconnection led to confusion, loss of identity, and a weakened cultural foundation. The struggle to reclaim spiritual identity. Today, many Bantu people are recognizing the historical deception and working to reclaim their spiritual knowledge. The revival of traditional beliefs, practices, and ancestral honor is an act of resistance and restoration. Restoring balance through spiritual reconnection. By returning to their roots, the Bantu people are reconnecting with their ancestors, realigning with Nzambi Mpungu, and rediscovering the sacred wisdom that was hidden from them. Healing from the colonial trauma. Spiritual reconnection is not just about faith. It is about healing from centuries of colonial trauma. Restoring indigenous knowledge strengthens individuals and communities, allowing them to reclaim their true identity. The path forward. Remembering who they are and where they come from is essential for the Bantu people to regain their strength. Spirituality, as understood by their ancestors, remains the key to restoring balance, unity, and a future rooted in ancestral wisdom. Conclusion. The power of remembering. The colonizers may have tried to erase Bantu spirituality, but the knowledge was never truly lost. It remains within the people, waiting to be reclaimed. To reconnect with spirituality is to reclaim identity, dignity, and strength. The Bantu are now awakening, remembering who they are, and stepping back into the spiritual power that was always theirs. How the colonizers fought the Bantu through spiritual and cultural manipulation. They studied Bantu spirituality to control it. The colonizers didn't ignore Bantu knowledge. They studied it deeply, not to respect it, but to destroy or exploit it. They recognized that the Bantu had a strong connection with their ancestors, Bakulu, powerful spiritual systems linked to Nzambi and Mpungu, and sacred wisdom preserved in their language, proverbs, and oral traditions. Their spiritual leaders, Nganga, diviners, healers, played key roles in guiding the community. Once the colonizers understood this, they launched a systematic attack to erase, distort, and demonize Bantu spirituality. They demonized indigenous spirituality as witchcraft. Traditional practices were labeled as witchcraft to instill fear among the Bantu people. Spiritual leaders, Nganga, diviners, healers, were branded as sorcerers or devil worshippers, and ancestral veneration, honoring Bakulu, was called pagan or idolatry. Christianity was weaponized to convince Bantu people that their ancestral connection was evil and that only European religion was true. Result: many Bantu people became disconnected from their spiritual power and began to see their own culture as inferior. They stole knowledge but kept it for themselves. Colonizers didn't just destroy Bantu knowledge, they took it and used it for their benefit. Traditional medicine was studied, stolen, and later incorporated into modern pharmaceuticals. Sacred symbols like the Dikenga, Kongo Cosmogram, were hidden in Western secret societies and esoteric teachings. Prophecies, ancient scrolls, oral histories, and sacred texts were taken or rewritten to fit colonial narratives. Spiritual sciences, such as the power of words, Nkuta Mambu, and vibrational energy, were studied and repackaged into Western occultism, secret societies, and psychology. Result: while Bantu people were told their knowledge was demonic, colonizers preserved it and used it for their own purposes. They created a psychological war, mental slavery. Colonizers knew that to truly defeat a people, you must make them forget who they are. They attacked Bantu identity through education, teaching that African history began with slavery, erasing pre-colonial civilizations. Religion, forcing Christianity while rejecting African traditions. Language suppression, banning Bantu languages, replacing them with French, English, Portuguese, etc. And cultural shaming, making traditional names, clothing, and practices seem uncivilized. Result: many Bantu people abandoned their traditions, lost confidence in their spirituality, and began seeing European ways as superior. How this has affected the Bantu people today and the way forward. Because of colonial tactics, many Bantu people today feel disconnected from their ancestors, think their own spiritual traditions are witchcraft, follow religions that reject African identity, struggle with an identity crisis, forgetting their roots, believe that colonial education is the only path to success. This is why many Bantu people are waking up today and realizing, we were lied to. Our ancestors had wisdom before colonization. Our spirituality was powerful, and that's why they fought against it. The way forward, reconnecting with our roots. It is time for the Bantu people to reclaim their spiritual and cultural heritage. Study pre-colonial history. Learn about the great Bantu civilizations, Congo, Luba, Lunda, Mutapa, etc. Reconnect with ancestral wisdom. Learn about traditional spiritual systems, symbols, and knowledge. Restore our languages. The wisdom of our ancestors is in our indigenous tongues. Break the mental slavery. Understand that the colonizers feared our power, which is why they fought so hard to erase it. Like in The Lion King, remember who you are. The ancestors are calling us to remember. Final thought, they feared our power, not our weakness. The colonizers didn't attack Bantu spirituality because it was weak. They attacked it because it was powerful. They knew that as long as the Bantu remained spiritually strong, they could never be fully conquered. That is why they had to use deception, fear, and psychological warfare to break that connection. Now the choice is ours. Will we continue to live under the lies of colonialism, or will we reclaim our true identity? The introduction of Christianity into Bantu societies and the scientific speculative meaning of the Kongo Cosmogram. One, destruction of indigenous spiritual sites and baptism of African leaders. Colonial powers and missionaries converted African rulers to facilitate the spread of Christianity. The Kingdom of Congo is a prime example where rulers were baptized, merging the state with the church. This often led to the suppression of traditional spiritual practices. 1. Time and parallel realities in Bukongo thought. The Bukongo believe that time is not linear but exists simultaneously across multiple dimensions. Past, present, and future coexist, similar to Einstein's theory of relativity. Events in one realm affect others, like the butterfly effect in quantum physics. 2. Suppression of traditional practices. Christian missionaries labeled African spirituality as witchcraft or paganism. Healers, Nganga, were branded as devil worshippers. Ancestral veneration was demonized as idolatry. Sacred sites, like the Mugumo trees of the Kikuyu people in Kenya, were destroyed to erase indigenous beliefs. 2. Science fiction and quantum physics connection. Modern physics aligns with Bukongo spirituality. Multiverse theory states that multiple realities exist at once, just as the Kongo Cosmogram teaches. Reincarnation and time loops mirror the belief in ancestors returning. Quantum entanglement reflects the ability to communicate with ancestors beyond death. 3. Establishment of churches and religious education. The construction of churches and the introduction of Christian schools reshaped Bantu societies. Western values were promoted while indigenous knowledge and beliefs were discouraged. This led to a decline in traditional practices and the erosion of African identity. 3. Shape-shifting and identity across dimensions. Bukongo thought teaches that a person can exist in multiple forms across realities. A person can be reborn as an ancestor. Nkua Tulendo, the mighty one, will return. One's spiritual essence can travel between past and future. Some individuals exist in both the physical and spiritual realms at the same time. Sci-fi parallel, similar to The Matrix, Interstellar, or Black Panther, where characters exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. 4. Psychological warfare and cultural erasure. Colonizers understood that to truly conquer a people, they had to erase their identity. They did this through education, teaching that African history began with slavery, religion, forcing Christianity while rejecting African traditions, language suppression, banning indigenous languages in favor of European ones, and cultural shaming, making traditional names, clothing, and practices seem primitive. 4. The ancestral connection in African futurism. African futurism connects past and future. Like in The Lion King, where Simba speaks to his ancestors, Bantu traditions teach that the ancestors exist in a parallel world and can be contacted through rituals. Memory and time travel. Oral traditions allow people to download ancestral knowledge, just like retrieving lost data in a sci-fi AI system. Sci-fi parallel. This resembles Black Panther's ancestral plane and the Akashic Records theory, where all knowledge is stored in a cosmic. 5. The way forward, reclaiming Bantu spirituality. To heal from the effects of colonialism, Bantu people must reconnect with their roots. This means studying pre-colonial history, restoring indigenous languages, reclaiming ancestral wisdom, and breaking free from mental slavery. Only by understanding that colonizers feared and suppressed African spirituality because of its power can true healing begin. Like in The Lion King, remember who you are. The ancestors are calling us to awaken. 5. Spiritual portals and interdimensional travel. In Bukongo cosmology, sacred places, mountains, rivers, caves are considered portals to other dimensions. People can enter different realities through meditation, rituals, and dreams. Some rituals open gates to the spiritual world, like wormholes in science fiction. Sci-fi parallel. Similar to Doctor Strange opening portals, Stargate's interdimensional travel, and Black Panther's spiritual initiation into the ancestral plane. This structured format keeps the historical impact of Christianity on Bantu spirituality and the Afrofuturistic elements of the Kongo Cosmogram side by side, showing how past oppression connects to present spiritual awakening and modern scientific concepts. Conclusion: the Kongo Cosmogram as a blueprint for multidimensional science fiction. The Bukongo belief system is already a form of ancient science fiction because it describes time travel, parallel worlds, spiritual portals, and interdimensional existence in ways similar to modern physics and sci-fi concepts. The ancestors exist in a parallel reality that can be accessed through rituals, dreams, and spiritual journeys. Time is not linear, but a cycle, meaning people can interact with their past and future selves. The Dikenga cosmogram is a cosmic map, similar to how modern physicists describe the multiverse and multiple dimensions. This means that African spirituality, especially Bukongo thought, is not just mythology. It is a highly advanced system of understanding reality, time, and dimensions. It aligns with modern quantum physics and science fiction in ways that the Western world is only now beginning to explore. Message to your YouTube audience: the bandit truth is salvation. In Mikhail Massa have been preaching this truth for 11 years, and the time has come to wake up our people. The colonizers erased our history, but Nzambi is bringing justice. It is our duty to restore the ancient kingdoms of our ancestors. Support my mission. This work is great, but I cannot do it alone. We must stand together. Join our Telegram group to see my projects, books, and teachings. Get connected. Like and share the videos. Spread the messages so the world hears the Bantu truth. Teach your children, neighbors, and community. Knowledge is power. Warn the people. Nzambi will break the colonizers' necks. The time is near. Join the movement. Support our cause and let's rebuild our kingdoms together. The truth will set us free.